exciting and new.
You know we would bring this song up, especially when we were talking about cruises.
We're expecting you.
We just need Captain Stubing to help us guide us here on the Disney Cruise. This is the Disneyverse podcast. Thank you very much for joining us here today. My name is Michael. Joined by your favorite crewmates, Patricia, Terry, and Vicky. Ladies, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
That's right.
Hi.
Later on, we'll be playing Name That 80s TV show theme.
And I am going to fail miserably. Yay me!
So we narrowed it down to 3 people. All right, here we go. Thanks for joining us here today. We are talking Disney cruises. That's why we got the Love Boat theme. Ask your parents about it, kids, if you have never heard or seen this show before. Turn that down there, because I'm sure the disco music would be greatly appreciated in the 2018. By the way, happy pre-Disneyland birthday. 63 years of the happiest place on earth. Disneyland has their birthday celebration for tomorrow. We do not know if Disneyland has scheduled a 5-year anniversary for the 63rd birthday, but that will be coming down the pike here down the line. But yeah, 63 years, ladies. We have Disneyland been around that long.
That's exciting.
Sweet. Totally cool.
Absolutely. And
I feel older and older all the time because, it feels like the 60th was, last year. And it wasn't.
I know. It just seems like
Well, it ended last year.
Yeah, it just ended. They actually just finished up their 50th and their 60th. It's weird. It's just, it just seems like last year they were celebrating their 62nd birthday. So that's pretty awesome for Disney.
No way.
I know. It's amazing. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us here today. We do have our Disney Cruise review. We're going to talk about some things that you can look forward to on a Disney cruise. And particularly, we do have Terry and Patricia who have been on Disney cruises before. So we'll talk about their wonderful experiences in just a couple of moments. Of course, folks, don't forget, here at the Disneyverse podcast, we do want to thank you guys very much for listening to us. If this is your first time listening to us, first of all, where have you been? We've been looking all over for you, so I'm glad you made it over here. A couple things we do want to pass along first. First of all, is our social media. We do have our Facebook account running here, facebook.com/Disneyverse. There you can look at all of our latest articles we've got up. We've also getting close to 300 likes on that page, so we're getting close to 300. So if you haven't had a chance, take a moment and just click on that like button and upload the notifications, and you'll get the latest information, including our podcast. We always upload our podcast onto Facebook there. Twitter also is running there. Vicky's got that rocking and rolling over there. Twitter at DisneyversePod. Again, same thing over there. She gets you all the latest news and pictures of everything that's going on, of course, with Disney. And if you want to send us an email, if you want to just contact us, if you have a question, tell me how romantic my voice sounds, you can hit us up at DisneyversePodcast at gmail.com.
It's so dreamy.
Looking it up now. Just kidding.
That's right. Let me put that in the spam folder. All right, so moving on here. So, ladies, we're going to talk about the Disney Cruise in just a moment, but I do want to mention a couple quick little news articles that I found throughout my researching for this episode here. I want to start with the news that came out yesterday, and that is the news about Mary Poppins. Now, Mary Poppins, obviously, they're doing the remake. Disney's in this remake bug right now, and Mary Poppins is the latest movie to be remade. This was going to be released around the Christmas. In fact, it was going to be released on Christmas Day, but this movie has been bumped up to December 21st, I believe. Is that what you guys are hearing as well?
The 19th.
The 19th. Okay, that's right. I'm sorry about that. So, December 19th is the official release date now of Mary Poppins. They have moved this up a week. Vicky, this is. Do you think this is a smart strategy for Disney to lose the Christmas Day holiday and move it up a week?
I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up because too many things are coming out, and although there is a crossover demographic with the action movies coming out Christmas Day, I kind of think that they're, for the most part, two different audiences. And I love going to movies on Christmas Day. It's a thing we do in my family, and I was looking forward to Mary Poppins.
Well, and you can always save it for, Christmas Day. It's not going to be. It's not going to be.
It'll still
I
be
know,
in
but then I want to see Aquaman, so I'm kind of like, I don't know. know.
Well, the movie theaters are going to be busy that time of the year because
Yes, they are.
you have the blockbusters, or at least the holiday blockbusters are coming out. Plus, you also have the Academy Award movies. Generally, the Academy needs to have the movies at least released into theaters before the end of the year. But we're looking at Aquaman, the Bumblebee movie, Alita, Battle Angel. If you've seen the previews of that, that's pretty much been blowing up everywhere on cinemas. Welcome to Marwen and Holmes and Watson. So there's a lot of different movies coming out there. Of course, the prior to Mary Poppins comes out, you have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Mortal Engines. Now, I say Star Wars because Star Wars has been the last couple of times been in Christmas, but we're looking at a May release for that. Terry, do you think that this is going to hurt with all these movies coming out? You think Mary Poppins might be hurt, kind of similar to what happened to some of the other Disney movies that have come out this year?
I don't know. I don't know if it will make a huge difference between Christmas or the week before, or I don't know why they decided to move it up a week.
That's a long time to throw it.
I know, right? Maybe they were trying to, I don't know. Maybe there was too much coming out on Christmas and they thought it would help to move it a week.
Well, and that's always the fear with Disney. Patricia, because when you move a movie, or when you change a movie date, you have to do it pretty early. You don't want to wait till a few weeks before the actual release date. My concern here, it's going to be kind of similar to the movie that happened earlier in the year. What's the movie with Oprah Winfrey in it and Reese Witherspoon? A Wrinkle in Time. Yeah, so A Wrinkle in Time, that was a victim of the moving, because there were some movies that kind of changed and moved around during that time, which did hurt that. What do you think about that?
I think that maybe they saw how badly Solo did on a holiday weekend, and maybe thought, well, maybe we should bring something out on an actual holiday.
Right.
I know there's a lot of people that go to the movies on Christmas, and it probably would have been fine, but maybe they're also thinking that, well, this used to happen where I lived. There was a movie theater in the mall, and parents would drop their kids off at a movie and then go finish their Christmas shopping while the kids were in the movie.
Right.
So maybe that's something they're thinking of doing with this.
Well, and that's one thing that, Disney's pretty smart about this stuff. They've had a couple of misses with Solo and A Wrinkle in Time, but, I think this is going to be one of those movies. It's Mary Poppins. This is going to generate a lot of buzz. It's going to generate a lot of revenue. I guarantee it's going to generate a lot of old DVD business with Mary Poppins, the original one with Julie Andrews. I think you're going to see a lot of people watching that movie and going back in time and think, oh, do you remember this when they were singing about supercalifragilisticexpialidocious on top of chimneys while Bert's cleaning chimneys or something like that. So that's what we got to look forward to. Again, Mary Poppins has changed their release date. December 19th is now the release date, and we hope that Vicky can wait 6 days before she can watch it on Christmas. All right, anyway.
Screw it.
Now another bit of Disney news. In fact, we found this out. I don't know if you guys knew. We kind of talked about this in our pre-production show. Indiana Jones 5. Now, Indiana Jones 5 was slated to come out July 10th, 2020. Disney has decided to push the Steven Spielberg directed movie to July 9th, 2021. There is a reason for that, and that's because Spielberg is in pre-production of a reboot of West Side Story, which apparently is Trish's all-time favorite movie, and even looking at directing the kidnapping of Edgardo Mortara with an Oscar-winning Mark Rylance. So, first of all, I didn't know if you guys knew Indiana Jones was going to make a fifth one, number one. Number two, will Harrison Ford be walking in a walker trying to be chased down by a boulder? Trish, I'll start with you on this one. Did you think that...
The last one had aliens, right? And crystal skulls?
That's something going on.
It was weird.
Yeah, they had like an atomic bomb that was trying to go off, and he's trying to run away from that. Trish, do you think that's even a good idea to come out with an Indiana Jones 5?
Geez, I don't know. Because how old is Harrison Ford? He is...
563.
Let's Google it.
Well, he looks it.
I want to say he's like 79. I'm going to say he's like 78 right now.
Let's see, he was born in 42, so that would make him 76? 76.
Yeah, 76 years old.
So he'll be 79 by the time this thing comes out.
Right.
How old was Sean Connery when he played his dad?
I'm
I
old
don't
as
know.
hell. I am old as
This is
hell.
just-
Yeah, I don't. Vicky, what about you?
Yeah.
I actually would see it. I am one of 5 people who liked the 4th one, and
There may have been
I
7.
wanted
but
to like it, but they lost me when they went to Aliens.
Well,
see,
you know
I
what?
guess I was so used to that with Spielberg and Lucas that I was kind of like, well, yeah, duh. It's based on the serials of the 1930s. Fits perfect.
Well, also it's like I'm one of the people. I also like Crystal Skull. I grew to like it. I guess just say the first time I saw it, I was kind of like, what is this? But it grew on me. And then also my brother pointed out something good too, something I didn't think about. It's like, because I was also bothered by the alien thing, but he's like, why is there such a big difference between believing in aliens and believing in all the religious artifacts that they had in the other
Right.
movies?
That's true. That's true. What about you, Terry?
I mean, I'll probably see it. I just hope they like stick more to, I don't know, I guess I like the originals more than I wanted to like it so much because I love Shia LaBeouf as an actor. I mean, I know he's a little bit crazy, but like,
Have you seen his YouTube videos?
Understatement.
I mean, I like him as an actor, and I really, I thought they had set him up to be like the new Harrison Ford, and they were going to be putting out another one a lot sooner than this. But
Well,
then
that was before he kind of, said all those awful
lost
things
his
about it.
marbles. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well.
He's lost his marbles a long time ago. I.e.
guess I'll
Transformers.
still see it. I'm curious to see where they go with it, I guess.
I really hope that Shia LaDouche, as I call him, is not in this
LaDouche.
one because
Wow.
I don't care for him.
No,
I wouldn't have
Spielberg
caught
said
that
he
at all
won't
from
work
that
with him again.
name.
Shia LaDouche. I'm sure there's been quite a few people that have called him that, especially when he was in school. Hey, aren't you Shia
Oh.
LaDouche?
I was almost screaming in the movie theater when he bent down and picked up Indiana Jones's hat and looked like he was going to put it on. I'm like, no, you didn't deserve that. You don't deserve that. You have not earned that. You will never earn that.
Oh my god.
No,
She
All
has
right.
no strong
he
feelings
cursed
about
his
this.
ability.
Trish has some serious anger this episode. I'm kind of curious. I hope everything's okay there.
I think my Slytherin side is coming out.
I think so
today.
too. Yeah, your Harry Potter stuff. By the way, I did find out the new hold music for AARP. Hopefully, Harrison Ford. All I'm going to say is this: I love Indiana Jones. I think the Indiana Jones, the first 3 movies were good, but I thought after the 3rd one they should have ended it. If Harrison Ford's going to be a part of this, then I would hope that they kill him off. I mean, seriously, just kill off Indiana Jones. He's going to be his late 70s. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for Harrison
he's
Ford to
gonna
be in
Let's
it.
bring
He's gonna
back
be
all his
79.
iconic characters and kill them all.
That's right.
He's gonna be 79. He's gonna be 79 in this movie. Sean Connery was 59 when he played his dad.
I know exactly.
20 years older. I
Damn,
mean,
he
that's-
seems so much older than that.
So Harrison Ford will have died in Star Wars. He will have died in Indiana Jones. Blade Runner, I have not seen that, but I'm presuming he died in that movie too. Any other movies? Oh,
How have you not seen the Blade Runner?
I've seen
What?
the
I
original,
watched
not the new
Saturday.
one. I haven't seen the new one yet. I haven't seen that one. I want to see it. I just haven't had a chance to see it. I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, I
Well,
think
Vicky
the
Flix
original one is
does deliver door to door.
good. Vicky, God.
That's what my husband calls it.
She does have a wall of movies. I've seen it.
Well, it could be.
my Slytherin side is coming out, so don't ask me what I feel about Blade Runner.
It could.
Because
It
you
could.
won't like
Oh.
the answer.
It could be Vic. Could be Vic Flix or Vuber. I don't know. One of those two there. So. Speaking of which, I want some food. Do you have Vuber Eats? That would be kind of cool. So
Movie and food.
I know what a
Well,
deal.
except I only deliver things like kielbasa and pierogi, so I don't know.
Jeez, I'm telling you, this is turned into could turn into a date here as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you have Vic Flix and you have all that. I mean, hello, we could be talking serious stuff here going on.
Okay, but
Let's
we
watch-
can't your wife or my husband.
Hello, Vicky. Let's watch Blade Runner. That's right. We don't need.
Michelle's like, have fun, bye.
We don't need Ryan Gosling. Yeah, Michelle, here's the keys. Have fun. No, Vicky, let's sit down and eat kielbasa and watch Blade Runner 2049. Oh yeah. Anyway, So,
Oh, we're going to so get ourselves in trouble.
oh, we're having fun. It's all right.
But it's fun.
That's right, as long as no one knows. Anyway, so moving on. So we're talking. So now another one that I wanted to kind of bring up is if you live in the Southern California area and have listened to this show, you probably have noticed that downtown Disney, is now going through its construction. The recent closing of several of the restaurants, which do include Rainforest Cafe, ESPN Zone, and several others, are now officially closed. Now it looks like this is a 2-3 year project, because they're going to be tearing all that down and they're going to be putting in the hotel there. There was a kind of a leak that came out in regards to crowd numbers over the last couple of months, and of course this might be correlation with that, but it looks like the attendance for Disneyland itself has ticked down just slightly. Annual pass renewals are also down a little bit too. The obvious things that they're discussing are having to do with the pricing, but also construction. And Terry, I'm going to start with you on this. Are you surprised to hear this? Are you not surprised? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, there's been a lot of things that people keep threatening to not renew their passes, price increases, construction, the whole scandal about Disney not paying their employees enough. Like, there's been lists of things where people keep threatening to not go to Disney, but it never seems to actually hit Disney that hard. So, plus, I think things like increasing the price of the tickets is meant to have less people use it, because, the park was getting to a point where there was no slow season. It's crowded all the time, and everybody complained about the issues that come with overcrowding, basically. And if you have less people in the park, it's more enjoyable for everybody. So I think they were trying to experiment with, like, how much they can charge without, totally alienating people, and maybe they're actually finally getting to that number.
Well, and that's the thing too, because you don't want to exclude everybody from going to Disneyland, but it gets to the point where you start to have to price people out. I mean, I don't want to say that and sound harsh, but going to Disneyland should be a fun experience, but I also believe that it should be an experience that everyone should have the opportunity to go to. But keep in mind, and Trish, I'll ask you this. I mean, Disneyland is a business, but do you think that maybe Disneyland needs to kind of outprice some people, or do you think it should be open like Walt's vision for everybody?
No, it's a hard question, because I want everybody to be able to go, but I also don't want it to be so crowded that you can't move, and when the lines are ridiculous, and I want to have, how was that fun?
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah.
See, the Southern Californian people who, they say that Disneyland survives on its annual pass holders. They say it survives on Southern California, maybe Southern Nevada, Northern California, the people who live closest to Disney. So, I mean, I really think restructuring the annual pass system would help a lot of that. You want the people who don't live close to still have a chance to come and enjoy the park.
Right. What about you, Vicki?
Well, I do the annual pass at the moment, and I probably will do it at least one more year, and then I'll have to rethink it in terms of price and reality of how often I can go after Star Wars. But I don't view it as a personal attack, and I've heard some of the blogs and the posters who have actually taken the price changes and some of the dynamics that Disney's not the only one that does this. Mm-hmm. Many, as a matter of fact, apparently it's bigger in other amusement parks, and Disney's kind of late to the game. And it actually has done what they wanted to do, because attendance does not mean dollars per se. They're still getting the bodies in, they're still getting the cash in, but there's fewer full capacity days. And I prefer that. So I have to think a little bit harder about what days I go. I get a block-out calendar with my annual pass. It's not like I'm naive. So I think that it's probably going to be a good thing, because it will allow people who both get the annual passes, live nearby, and the ones who are coming for the first time to have a shot at a really great experience.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, too, because, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where you don't necessarily look at okay, we're just going to go to Disneyland. It's now at the point of, okay, when do we want to go to avoid people?
Right.
And unfortunately, the problem with that is that January, that early part of January where the Christmas holiday is over, they're starting to take the stuff down is one of those prime times. But the problem is the park's not open till midnight. It's open till like 6 or 7 p.m. So you literally need to do, like what me and Trish are going to do. We're going to do a Friday night there or Saturday, whatever day works, when we go down for Galley.
Right.
But it's just something that, you have to kind of play the game based on park attendance. I don't want to price people out. I don't think we should price people out. However, Disney sets it up pretty much where they really want you to do those 4 and 5 day park hoppers, and it's not because they want you to get revenue, because they drop the price a little bit more per how many days you go there. They want the attendance. They want people not just buying those tickets. They want people buying their concessions. They want people buying merchandise. They want people to spend the day in there. So Disney's got to be very, very careful, because if this is a trend based on pricing going, then they probably have priced themselves out. I don't think Disneyland is going to, nor or less, stop raising their prices. Frankly, they haven't done it over the last several years. They keep raising their prices, but I don't know. Ultimately, Disneyland's going to have to make a decision. When's enough? And especially with construction going on, I know for a fact I don't like driving in construction. If I'm driving to work, if I know there's construction going on, I'm going to avoid that area. I'm going to avoid going in an area that's going to be very heavily congested with construction. I just will avoid it entirely. So that's my rant.
Yeah.
So editorial, not condoning about the Disney First podcast. But again, if you like what you hear on our news, if you have news yourself, again, Facebook, hit us up there, Twitter, email DisneyFirstPodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you have any news bits you would like to have us talk about. And of course, if you want to talk about a news bit on the show, we'd love to have you on. We'll take anyone. There is no admission charge, no fast passes required to be on the Disneyverse podcast. We'll get you on here. All right, so we're now ready to talk about Disney cruises. Now, Disney cruises are available to purchase.
Excited.
And this is exciting. This is a big one for me, because I've been on one cruise. It has not been a Disney cruise. It has been a Carnival cruise.
Boo.
Okay. Hold on. Settle down. The reason why I went on to the reason why I went on a Carnival is it was my first time. It was with my son.
Yeah.
Had a blast. It was a fun time. Never been on a cruise before. Now, since I've been on that cruise, I'm ready for a Disney cruise. I'm ready to experience the Disney cruise. So, ladies, obviously, there's different cruise lines out there. We have Carnival, as I just mentioned. We have Norwegian. We have Royal Caribbean. We have all these different choices. But we also have Disney cruises, and we have that as well. So, I guess the first question I have is, why Disney cruise? And we're going to start with our cruise experts here, Trish and Terry. I want to know what you guys like so much about the Disney cruises. Tell me why I need to book a Disney cruise like right now as I'm getting my credit card out.
Go ahead, Trish.
Okay. Well, I've only been on one Disney cruise, and I've only been on one cruise total. So I don't have anything to really compare it to, but it was amazing. And the service, the food, the whole, just the ship, everything was to Disney standard. And I've heard that that's not the case so much on other ships. So, you're going to get the best of the best. And
it's a more relaxing Disney vacation.
That's true. It's kind of like it's like staying in a Disney hotel that moves, and so it's like you never have to leave the magic. You're always in it, and you're just like right in it all the time.
Now, if you have not seen a Disney cruise, keep in mind the Disney castle is not on the ship. Okay, so there's no.
Damn.
I know, which I'm hoping that Disney would take our suggestion, like a floating castle. I could just see it running around the boat. They're like, there's a big boat. Oh, there's a castle on it. That's pretty freaking awesome. So I guess one of the things that people have when you look at Disney cruises first is, do you need a passport? Okay, well, it depends on the cruise and depends on the circumstances. I know from my experience is different than Disney. So, ladies, Trish and Terry, what do you need in order to get on the boat?
Okay, I'll take this one. I have been on 4 Disney cruises, and I have my 5th booked. I have been on 3 of the 4 ships that are sailing currently, and they have 3 more in the works. And I have my 5th cruise booked on the 4th ship. So,
Now you're just bragging.
I love Disney cruises. Okay, so my family tried a 3-night for their first one, not knowing. We're like, okay, we'll try this out. And then, we became hooked. They're awesome. So it depends on what kind of cruise you want, what documents you need. That's a really common question. If you are having a closed loop cruise, so one that comes back to the same port, say you're leaving from Port Canaveral and you go to the Bahamas and you come back to Port Canaveral, technically you only need your birth certificate, but they still recommend you have a passport just in case, because, if you miss the boat on an island in the Bahamas, you still have to get yourself back, and how are you going to do that without a passport?
Right.
But if you do a cruise that my family likes to do a lot of because they tend to be cheaper, the repositioning cruises, so the boat doesn't come back to the same port, you need a passport.
And can you use a passport or a passport card?
That one I'm not totally sure about. I have a passport book. I've never tried to use a passport card, so I'm not sure.
There are so many rules with the cards.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
The card is only for certain areas. It's
the Bahamas. It's the Bahamas, Caribbean, and North America. North America, but only if you are on a boat or if you're driving. If you're flying, you need an actual passport to fly.
Like, I would recommend if you're going on a cruise just to get a passport, but if you're doing a closed loop, you technically don't need one.
Okay. So keep that in mind. Closed loop if you are looking to do that.
If you're doing a 3-night or a 4-night on the Dream, which is, one of the more popular runs, you don't need a passport.
So obviously now Disney cruises, I would suggest just doing a passport. It would be the best thing to do, because what if if you get stuck and you have to fly out, then you have to get stuck with the passport. So you're better off just getting a passport. Now, obviously, you have destinations on where Disney cruises go. There's a lot of amenities, and we're going to spend quite a bit of time on amenities here in just a moment, but I do want to start with where Disney cruises. So where are some ports that the Disney cruise lines head at? Trish, I'll start with you if you know this one.
It leaves from Florida. I think it leaves from Port Canaveral and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That goes down to the Bahamas, but it can also go down to Mexico and the Caribbean. It goes to the Panama Canal. It goes to Alaska. It does the Mediterranean.
Yeah. I can give you the ships and where they go.
Oh, you should have asked her.
Well, I'm asking whoever can answer. If you want to go ahead and take over, or Terry's like, I'll answer this question.
Sorry.
No,
okay,
you're fine. No, I want you to do that. Go ahead, tell us.
There's 4 ships. There's 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones. The 2 larger ones are the Dream and the Fantasy. They're the newest ones right now. They both their home ports are in Florida. The Dream normally does 3- and 4-night Bahamian cruises, and the Fantasy does the 7- and 8-night Caribbean cruises. The Magic tends to do the East Coast, so it'll do Miami, New York, and Europe. So it goes back to Europe during the summer, and it does Europe runs. It does like Norway and Spain and all that. And the Wonder is the one that goes to the West Coast. So the Wonder is the one that does Alaska and the California coast and Mexico. And those could change once the 3 new ships come out. There's a lot of speculation on what ships are going to be moved around to what ports and when the 3 new ones come out. But right now, that's basically where they go. Now, if you want to do the transatlantic, it's going to be on the Magic. If you want to do the Panama Canal, it's going to be on the Wonder. If you want to do the 7-night Caribbean, it's most likely going to be on the Fantasy. A couple of times the Wonder or the Magic will do something like that, but generally that's just the Fantasy.
Now, I did notice in regards to the cruises, a lot of them are in the East Coast, like the really big ships.
Yes.
There's been a change in the western part of the country as far as cruises go, and it really started with the Norwegian Bliss. Now, obviously, it's not a Disney cruise, but Norwegian Bliss is the largest ship in the Norwegian fleet. It started out on the south in the Miami area, and now it actually has now a base out here in the West Coast in Southern California. They are going to do a lot of Alaska cruises and a lot of South, Mexico and everything like that. Carnival has another massive ship that is set to open up sometime next year, which is going to be the largest ship on their fleet, and it's also going to be based out of the West Coast as well too. So, Disney, I mean, like you said, Terry, there could be some Disney ships that are going to be massive that could be based out of San Diego, which is the main Western hub.
Well, right now
Disney.
the speculation is, because the Wonder does go back to the East Coast sometimes, but it's the only one that fits through the Panama Canal right now.
Right.
So it's the only one that it goes to the West Coast. So the speculation is the Wonder is going to be completely West Coast. Who knows that they might choose one of the new ships as that, but then they wouldn't. I kind of feel like the Wonder might stay on the West Coast just because the refurbishments and everything that the Disney cruise ships do, they all go back to Europe. They were built in Europe. That's where the refurbishments, that's where all of the repairs happen. And if you have a huge ship that needs to go to Europe and it can't fit through the Panama Canal, kind of creates an issue.
Right. Oh, bless
So
you.
it might just be the Wonder only for that reason.
Well, and I'm just hoping we get some big ships out here. I think that would be fantastic. I mean, we get, kind of the sloppy seconds of the cruise lines out here.
I love the Wonder.
No, it's I've seen pictures of them. In fact, I've seen pictures of a lot of the Disney cruises, and they look fantastic. It just seems like we get the smaller ones out here, but smaller doesn't necessarily mean they have the least amenities. They do have a lot of amenities on the boats. It's just something that's, not necessarily something that they carry on there a lot. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be nice if some of these big ships go on there. But one of the destinations that Disney goes to is Castaway Cay. And tell me, ladies, a little bit about that.
Oh, it's so fun. It's like going to a tropical island. It is.
Well, it is a tropical island.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's
tropical.
Yeah, it's
Disney
tropical.
owns a private island in the Bahamas. I mean, what more do you need?
They've actually filmed some movies and stuff on that island too, even before they owned that island. The movie Splash. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yep.
Yes.
I remember that movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the better movies.
Surprisingly, only one of my 4 cruises has gone to Castaway, and it was my first cruise. But I loved it. I think they try and have the best of everything for an island. Like, anything you could want to do on an island, I think they try and have it. They have a 5K race. They have bikes available. They have jet skis and parasailing. They have a huge snorkeling area where they sunk things for you to find in it. They have Pelican Plunge, like a big water slide, kids play area out in the middle of the water. They have an adults-only beach. They have barbecue. They have a kids club where you can drop your kids off on the island so you can go and do your adult thing at the adult beach while your kids still have, the counselors and people to take care of them while they're on a beach in the Caribbean or in the Bahamas. I mean, it's got everything.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
They got
Yeah.
shops with merchandise that you can only buy on that island.
Yes.
So, yes.
So bottom line is it's a tropical island. That's just kind of
Yes.
what I'm getting. Okay, just making sure.
It has nothing. It's not beautiful at all.
No,
Don't
it's
go.
it's just a deserted island in the middle of the Caribbean, just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, which is owned by Disney. So let's talk about some of the onboard entertainment. Now, onboard entertainment is a very critical part of any cruise line, and Disney is definitely one of those kind of ships that has that. So tell us a little bit about the onboard entertainment that you ladies have experienced.
Well, when we went, we got to see a new production of Beauty and the Beast. It was like they took the Broadway version and the new movie version, and it's like they had a baby. So
Yeah, the baby.
it's a somewhat condensed version of it. It's only about an hour, but it was really good because I've seen the Broadway version and it was okay, but and I liked the new movie was good too. This play is amazing. I really hope that they take what they did with that and turn that into the new Broadway version and put that on Broadway, because that's really what it should be. Because the way the effects and the costuming and everything is really good.
Oh, nice.
The part when the Beast transforms, the way they did it, is like people even afterwards out in the hallway were like, how did they do that? It was so neat, and
well, you don't
they
think
couldn't figure it out.
You don't think like cruise ships would have like the technology, but of course it is a Disney ship, so they can pretty much pull anything. What about you, Terry? What did you see on your ship, or ships, I should say, since you've been on 4 cruises?
Each one of the ships have their own production like that. So the Dream is Beauty and the Beast. My most recent one was the Magic, and they have a Tangled Broadway show. The Wonder has Toy Story, the musical. I'm not sure what the Fantasy has right now, but I highly recommend. They have all kinds of different shows. They have the Golden Mickeys and Villains Tonight, and a whole bunch of. There's at least 3 like Broadway type shows on every sailing, and they're all awesome. And in between, every night there's a show in the theater, and if you're at the first seating for dinner, then you see the second show. And if you're the second seating for dinner, you see the first show. Or you don't have to, but, right. I recommend seeing them.
Yeah.
And in between the Broadway shows, if you have a longer cruise, they'll have, like, somebody who does singing, or somebody who does juggling, or somebody who does a different thing. There's always a show. I also love... They have a movie theater on board, as well as the regular theater. One of my favorite things to do is the trivia. I love doing the trivia, but you're on a boat full of all Disney people, so it's kind of hard to win the trivia.
I would just go just to see if they can, who would be the one that would win that one. Yeah, I mean, there's, I'm looking at some of the entertainment. They have Beauty and the Beast. They have Marvel's Day at Sea. They have Pixar Pals Party, Pirate Nights, Frozen Musical Spectacular. There's Tangled the Musical. There's a Star Wars Day at Sea. During the holidays, they have the Halloween on the High Seas and the Very Maritime Christmas. The Walt Disney Theater, Character Greetings, Frozen Deck Party. So, I mean, there's so many different things to do on the boat. And the thing is that you're out in the sea. You got to do something with your time. So, Disney Cruise is really bringing out the best in entertainment. And, I mean, you're paying a lot of money to go on the boat, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But you're also getting a good high quality experience, and that's kind of what they are wanting to do with the cruises themselves.
They're also one of the only cruise lines. I think there's only one other cruise line that is allowed to do fireworks at sea.
Yep.
And it's always on Pirate Nights. They do Pirates in the Caribbean party, and it doesn't even matter if you're in Europe or on the West Coast. They still call it the Pirates in the Caribbean party.
No, that's okay.
And they do a pirate menu that night, and they have the whole deck party and dancing and characters, and then there's fireworks.
That's fantastic. So,
and what's cool about the fireworks is that it turns into fish food.
Oh, that's even better. Even better.
That's why they're allowed to. They can't do anything that would hurt the fish.
Right. Well, and that's a smart thing to do. But yeah, I'm surprised other ships haven't done that, but Disney has that technology to do that. So, all right. So we got the entertainment. Now we got the dining. Now dining is a little bit tricky because some dining plans, when you go on a ship, whether it be a Disney cruise or any other cruise, there are some free unlimited food, like some free buffets, but there are some that are what's called specialty dining. And ladies, tell us a little bit about the dining experiences that you guys had on the Disney ships.
I think Trish did the 2 larger ships have 2 specialty dining, and I think she did both of them. I've only done 1.
Okay.
I did, yes. We did Remy's, which is the 5-star French restaurant they have on there, and then we also did
Palo.
Thank you. The name just went up. Yeah. I think they have Palos on almost every ship, right?
Yeah, Palo's on all 4, but Remy is only on the larger ships.
Yeah.
Okay.
Palo's Italian, and it's also fine dining, but it's a little bit more relaxed than Remy's is. Remy's was really good. The food was amazing. It was definitely expensive, but it was worth it. And because the head chef was born and raised in Paris, trained in Paris, and has 3 Michelin stars. You don't get that kind of opportunity every day to have someone like that cook for you. And it was a little too fancy for my taste in some respects, but I'm glad we did it. It was a lot of fun. And
Nice.
food was really different and really amazing.
Yeah. What about you, Terry?
I've done the special dining, Paolo. I've done the brunch twice and the dinner once. And brunch is definitely my favorite. They have, I believe Paolo is brunch and dinner. I think it's $25 a person extra, and Remy's is like $50 a person extra, if I'm remembering correctly.
It's more than that now.
Really? Yeah, it's
right now.
It's up there.
Yeah, right now, yeah, because we did Remy's brunch too. Because Paolo, for some reason, we didn't think about doing Paolo's brunch, which I've heard amazing things about. Paolo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Paolo's now, yeah, the brunch for Paolo's is now up to 30 or 35.
Okay. I mean, that's not that bad.
That's not bad. And then the brunch at Remy's was 55.
Yeah. So the brunch spread is awesome. You can order anything off a hot menu, but then, they have the whole layouts, all the fancy desserts. They have all the fancy cheeses, all the seafood platters, just like anything you could possibly want, it seems like, is out there for you, and it's amazing. But the regular rotational diet, if you don't want to spend any extra money on food, you will not be disappointed or hungry, or I don't think you should be. How Disney cruises work, there's 3 of the regular restaurants on every single ship, and you get assigned a rotation. So if you're doing a 3-night, it will say you're in Animators the first night, and then you are in, let's see, what's the other ones on the Dream? There's Enchanted
Royal
Garden.
Palace.
Okay, Enchanted Garden,
Palace.
Royal Palace. It tells you right on your key. It'll say AR, let's see, what was ARE. And you're going to Animators the first night, Royal Palace the second, and Enchanted Garden the third. And your servers come with you. So by night 2, your servers know your name, they know your dessert or your drink preferences, they know your allergies, they know anything about you. So if you're on a 7-night cruise, you get to know your servers really well. And I loved all the rotational dining. Did you get to do all 3 of yours, Trish?
No, we only got to do Royal Palace, and no, actually we did get to do all 3 because but we did Royal Palace the first night, but then the second night was Remy's, and then the third night was Animator's Palette, and that was during Pirate Night. And but then the morning that that next morning we left, we were in the Enchanted Garden for breakfast.
I love the rotational dining because I think, number 1, it gives you a chance to see all the restaurants, and number 2, you don't have to worry that you're accidentally picking the same restaurant at the same time as everybody else. They know exactly how many people are going to be there and at what time, and they plan for it. You're going to have the same table with the same servers in every single restaurant, so it's pretty streamlined.
Yep, they give you a number, and you just go find that number. If it's a 7-night cruise, you're going to know where the table is, eventually, and they won't even have to show you. Just walk in and go there.
Wow. Hey, Vicky.
Yeah, I'm salivating.
I'm just sitting here like, okay, we're kind of missing out.
It's like, why
And
the hell
here's the
have
other,
I not
here's
done
the other
this
thing.
yet?
What's that,
Here's
Trish?
the other thing. You can order as much food as you want.
Yes.
Damn right.
That would make my husband so happy.
Sometimes they'll even ask you. They'll be like, "Well, how many entrees would you like to try tonight?"
Yeah.
What
Because
the
they
hell?
bring out a
How many
menu.
desserts?
They bring a menu, and it's, appetizer, entree, dessert. And, you can order one of each. You can order 5 entrees and a dessert. You can order everything on the menu, and they will bring it to you.
I did that
Yep.
on my Carnival during the captain's dinner, which is one of those things that most cruises generally will have. They'll have like a captain's dinner. It's like a formal night the second night you're on the boat. That's from what I've heard, at least on that one. But yeah, you can pretty much have anything you want on the menu. You can literally have one thing of each, and make sure you put your pinky out when you're sipping your tea. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean, that's just how it's done.
And they always have a steak option, and I think they always have a pasta option. And, it's Disney, so they do allergy activities, and they do special requests and, all of that as well. And the food is amazing.
Right. Well, and that's one thing too, because as I go into the next part, and that's kind of entertainment for the kids. Some of the moms and dads want to have a nice specialty dinner. Sometimes they might want to just have a dinner, maybe with all four. It just kind of depends on what their budget is. I mean, they might just do the buffet, and usually the buffets are pretty cheap, as in free, as part of your cruises there. But there are some kids things you can do too. There's a kids club. There's a different type of kids entertainment. They have plenty of things to do. There's like, depending on your ages, usually goes from 6 months through 17 years old. It's not really a daycare, it's just an activity center. They don't want to use the term daycare, especially if you're a 17-year-old. But so, I mean, there's so much to do for kids to do on the boats. There's pools. There's water slides to ride. There's even a water slide that I've seen that goes around the side of the boat. Then you're in a little air tube and everything like that. It's just really amazing what they.
Yeah, those are the two larger ships have that one.
Yeah, exactly. So
Aqueduct.
Yeah. So now, obviously, the biggest thing that we, second to biggest thing is drinks. Now, drink packages are very expensive on cruises. I'm just going to tell you all right now. I think personally you're better off just buying per drink if you're not a heavy drinker. If you drink maybe a glass of wine on a ship, maybe just for dinner or something like that, but you're not really an alcoholic drinker, you may not want to get like a alcoholic package. But there are some cruise ships. I'm not sure if Disney's one of those. So ladies, you may have to correct me if I'm wrong here or not. But generally, if one person, like one adult, gets a alcohol package, then everyone who's over the age of 21 has to get that package. I don't know if that's the case with Disney, but I know Carnival and Norwegian.
I don't think so. Disney also is pretty lenient on the amount of alcohol you're allowed to carry on yourself. You can't carry a bottle of Jaeger or whatever. Their alcohol policy is a 6-pack or a bottle of wine per adult. Mm-hmm. You have to carry it on, but you can carry that amount on at every single port.
Okay.
Oh.
Load up on alcohol.
You're not allowed to bring it into the dining room, or they will charge you an uncorking fee.
Right.
But you can bring your own alcohol on if you choose. It has to be beer or wine, though. No hard liquor.
Oh, yeah. No, that's... Yeah, I mean, I don't really drink anymore. So, I mean, I've really been trying to cut back, so it's, definitely something. But I do see those alcohol packages, and they can get really, really pricey. I mean, some of the actual packages can almost rival based on the cruise you go to. It can actually match what the price is for the cruise itself. So
if you really want to do some drinking that you didn't bring alcohol on yourself, what I would really recommend is, I haven't done this, but it's very popular. They do, most cruises have a cruise group on Facebook where they coordinate things, and one of the things that is fairly often coordinated is a mixology class.
Yes, okay. I did that.
I think
cool.
What was it, like $25?
$20. 20. Yeah. 20. It was 20 a person, and we got drinks? 6 drinks each.
Oh, yeah, see?
Oh, okay.
And they're very popular.
Well, what was cool was that my husband doesn't really drink, so he was taking a little sip off of his and then handing it to me. So I got double.
Oh,
attaboy. I don't think he was.
Yeah, so, at the end of that class, I was like, and the class was at the rear end of the ship too, and so where you can really feel the ship moving. And after that class, it was really moving.
See, I don't think he was. I don't think he was giving you the drinks to be nice.
No.
Well,
but they also have beer tasting classes and also martini tasting classes and wine classes.
See, I would do the martini.
I did the martini one as well.
Yeah, I like a martini.
Doing that one, but the martini one was really good.
Yeah.
One of our cruises did a beer crawl where they literally set it up beforehand, and they had shirts and everything. Where they took a huge group of people, and they would literally go from bar to bar to bar on the ship, and you would see them in a huge crowd going to the next bar.
See, now I would walk around in
that.
That would
much
be awesome.
For me.
That would be. Vicky just needs to smell the alcohol. You guys do it.
They also do a drink of the day, which has a discount on it. You get a navigator every day in your stateroom that gives you a whole list of the activities. Plus, I would 100% recommend getting the Disney Cruise Line app before you leave, because all of the itineraries are on there.
Yes.
All of your night menu, dinner menus are on there. The drink of the days are on. Literally everything is on there. You can text other people on the ship from your app. That's part of it.
I was going to bring that up because, the technology that's on ships now, and it's really important to have an app for your cruise experience. And it's not, again, not just for Disney cruises, it's for any of them, but it tells you, okay, here's where you are. You're on deck 5. Okay, here's on deck 5. Okay, just a bunch of rooms. Okay, deck 9. Okay, we're at the lobby. So you can see everything that's on that deck. If you're looking to use a restroom, if you're looking to go find a place to go, take a bite to eat, it's so informative. But the texting feature is really, really critical. Hey, I'm going to be at the Lido deck in about 10 minutes. You want me to just meet me up? Just you can communicate with your guests. You can communicate with whoever you want. There are some internet plans out there. Generally, it's only, I would highly recommend if you're just posting on Facebook or using Facebook Messenger, you can do it that way for your cruise experience. But that still can get pricey, just depending on how long your cruise is going to be for, what your intentions are for internet. Honestly, if I'm on a cruise, I really don't want to use internet if I can help it, unless if there's something that's important that I need to find out what's going on pretty quick.
Most people just wait until they get off at port and find some place with Wi-Fi.
Right, exactly.
Honestly.
And a lot of times, when we went to Ensenada, me and my son, we actually the cell service we had at the time, T-Mobile, actually had internet available when you got off the boat, so I was able to check my messages and everything. My phone was just buzzing for 15 minutes because everything kept loading. So.
I did not realize that Castaway Cay had Wi-Fi until after I got back.
Oh!
I found out that the island has Wi-Fi, and because we just basically left our phones in the car in the ship, and just so we're like, why do we need that? We don't need this.
Exactly. So one of the biggest decisions, obviously the second biggest decision for me, is to get an alcohol package depending on who's with me. The number one decision when you're going on a cruise is what room you're going to stay in, and this is something that's very, very important. It really goes based on preference. If you're looking for just something inexpensive, if you're just there to sleep, or if you want to experience the room, there's different options. For the Disney Cruise Line, you have your inside staterooms, your ocean view staterooms, your veranda staterooms, and your concierge staterooms. We'll start with the inside, and the inside is, along with the ocean view, are just basic, standard cruise terminology when it comes to rooms. Inside room is an inside room. It's just a basic room. You don't have a window unless you have that electronic porthole, which some of these cruise ships do. Did you ladies have any of the electronic portholes?
My sister did. The bigger ships have them. The smaller ships don't.
Okay. And that's okay, because I know some of them do, some of them don't. I'm sure the new Disney cruises will probably have that technology out there pretty soon.
I assume so.
Yeah, but the inside room pretty much is, if you're in there just to sleep, you do get all the basic amenities. You get a shower. You don't have to share a shower with anybody else. You get your own shower. You get your own private little area there. But really, it's just a room to sleep in. But it is the most economic friendly. But it also is going to be the smallest. So. Cruise line ship rooms are not intended to be indicated for you to stay in there long term. They want you out. They want you moving around the cabin and everything. So inside staterooms are pretty much that. It's just a basic room with no frills involved.
Disney does have slightly larger rooms than other cruise lines, but cruise rooms are small.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. So the next one is the Ocean View. Ocean View is just a little bit more expensive. Again, you have your Ocean View room. It's going to be, it's according to Disney's Cruise Line's website, it is actually the same size as a larger inside stateroom. Only difference is that you have your little porthole. That's going to be, you can face out there. You can have either one large porthole or two small portholes, depending on what your preference is. Again, a little bit more expensive just because you do get the outside view. The next one is getting into the veranda. Now, the veranda rooms you're getting into your suites. This is actually a full-size balcony room, depending on what you're looking for. Ladies, did you have a veranda, or did you get the ocean view, or did you go full-on concierge? What did you guys get?
We had veranda. We didn't do concierge because concierge about doubles the price of your cruise.
Oh, it so does.
And I'm just like, no.
And I'm booking it right now. Here we go.
Yeah, and even with the veranda, is a lot more expensive than the ocean view and the inside rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone told us, oh, go for the veranda. Oh, it was our honeymoon too, so we're like, okay, let's just
Yeah,
let's just
a
splurge
bit.
and do this right. It's our first cruise,
Right.
our honeymoon. Let's just do this, and I liked it, but I don't know. We didn't go out on it that much. So I'm thinking next time probably would just even do either an ocean view or an inside, save some money.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first one, we were in an ocean view with a porthole. We were in one of the ones that fit 5 people because I was with my family and I was the 5th person.
Oh, God.
So the only ones that fit the 5 people, I think there's a couple of inside or ocean view rooms too, and then I think some of the veranda rooms too. The second one was with my family, and we were just inside. There was only 4 of us. Then my wedding cruise, we went all out. We had an ocean view room, and then the transatlantic. We just did inside. We literally have never gone over an ocean view room, but we basically use a room like a room. There's so much going on the ship that I don't care where my stuff is. Like, it doesn't, if I wanted to go out and see the ocean, I can go out on deck. Like, that's not important to me. And I always look at the price difference between an inside and an ocean view. And but the difference between a veranda and concierge is usually, or inside and concierge is usually, I can do 4 inside cruises or 1 concierge.
Maybe if I won the lottery, but I think you're right. With everything that happens on a cruise being everywhere but your room, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean,
why
there are
splurge
people
on that one.
There are people who absolutely love the larger rooms. They love the suites. They love the verandas. They love concierge. They say they won't cruise any other way.
So
More
these
power
are wealthy
to them,
people, right? No,
I guess, because I look at the price and I'm like, never will I do that. But, I mean, outside of the room, you literally have the exact, concierge has somebody to book stuff for them, woo. But, I mean, you're all eating the same food, you're all seeing the same shows, you're all hanging out with the same characters. Like, the actual experience of the ship is exactly the same for everybody. There's not like a first class, second class, third class. No, it's the same for everybody.
Yeah, it's not the Titanic, okay?
I mean, room size is not important to me. Cost effective definitely is.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm looking at the concierge royal suite with veranda.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I just picked a basic cruise. This is a 3-night, just 3 nights, okay? For concierge, it starts at $6,800.
Jesus, Lord in heaven.
Now,
how many times can I go to Disneyland for that? Come on.
Well, I would, yeah, exactly. I mean, but see, here's the thing though. Your Grey Poupon might be fantastic. It might be worth it.
Concierge does have their own lounge.
See?
I guess they have free coffee and free snacks every day. I mean, like, you can't find free coffee and free snacks like
I know.
Anyways,
Exactly.
I think some of the ships have a concierge pool, and then you got like your person to make. They have first dibs of all like the spa treatments and the cabanas on Castaway and that sort of thing. But the price difference is
astronomical.
Not worth it to me personally.
Right.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, my wife and I spent $2,000 on our 11-night transatlantic cruise.
Oh wow!
That was with the dang, now because I said that I'm forgetting the terminology. The placeholder discount. So if you are on a Disney cruise, you can book a Disney cruise at a discount. And if you don't have one in mind, you can book what they call placeholder. You have to have $250 to put down and say, I will be cruising within the next 2 years. and then you get a discount on the future cruise. I think it's 10% discount on the future cruise and some onboard credit. If you're doing less than a 7-night, it's $100 of onboard credit, and if it's over a 7-night, then it's $200 onboard credit.
Yeah, Disney. I mean, a lot of cruises do have that like deposit down, like something like that. It's a little bit different terminology, but it's kind of like that.
So we did use a placeholder discount for that,
right.
But we were just in a straight. We booked right when the cruise came out, so it was at its cheapest because they only go up in price, and we used our placeholder discount. So yeah, 11 nights for 2 people was $2,000.
So the big difference between the Ocean View and Veranda is really going to be size. The Veranda does have a deluxe family Ocean View stateroom with Veranda, which is basically the balcony. If anyone not aware of the Veranda, it's basically a balcony room. Everyone calls it that. Disney calls it Veranda. They do have rooms that sleep up to 5. So if you do have 2 adults and 3 kids, you can get away with that. Starting at $2,100 on this 3-day cruise that I'm just kind of looking up. So obviously a big difference from Veranda to the Concierge. The Concierge does start at $3,100, but again, I mean, you're getting, you're just getting the room, but again, your food's going to be the same, your drinks are going to be the same. There's no such thing as gold drinks or anything like that. So really, based on my personal experience, if you're just going in the room really to sleep, I recommend the inside room. And on top of that, if you want a good night's sleep without any kind of light, the inside room might be your best bet because it gets dark in that room.
Oh my gosh, it's so black.
It is so dark in that room, and I loved every second of it. I am someone who does not like light. I do not like having any light in the room. Thankfully, the door that we had didn't have the light reflecting through it, so it literally was pitch black. And you don't even know what time it is. It could be like 11:30 in the morning. You've like slept like 15 hours. It's fantastic. One thing also that cruises are really, really good about is handicap accessories, and they do have a lot of different handicap rooms as well. So I know, Vicki, that's something you is near and dear to your heart as well too. They do have a lot of handicap
and the more
accessible.
I look into it, the more it's an option. I just need my son to graduate from college first.
Okay, well, yeah. So we'll work on that. We'll work on that as we go. So. All right, so we've covered
4 months.
I know. So what's holding you back? Oh no, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I mean, Disney cruises, I mean, they're a great option. I mean, if you like Disney, if you like Disneyland, if you like Disneyland California Adventure, if you like Disney World, if you like Disneyland Paris, but you want to do something a little bit different, Disney cruises might be the way to go. I mean, Terry,
I do have
Trish
to mention a little
awesome.
more in depth the options they have for children and teens.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
The kids clubs and the teen clubs, and there's even what they call Club 18-20 Society for the not quite drinking age, but not kids club level. They do activities with them and all that. But Disney cruises, obviously, they're Disney. They have an amazing setup for kids and teens. They have the nursery for 6 months to 3 years, which is the only one that costs extra money because, little kids take a little extra care. And you do have to schedule babysitting times basically for that. And I think it's like $10 an hour or something if you want to drop your kids off at the nursery. Anybody over 3, it's just built into the price of your cruise. They have the kids club, which is, I think, 3 to 10, I think. Mm-hmm. And then they have the tween club, which is 11 to 13. And then they have the teen club, which is 13 to 18. And they all have their own sections of the ship. They have their own activities going all the time. They have, like, the teen club on some of them has their own pool, and you can look on the navigator and they're having smoothie time, and then they're going to do a video game competition. And then the kids club, they could be having story time with Goofy, and then they're going to be making cookies later, and they're going to have a sleepover tonight. And the kids, seriously, a lot of parents say that they will drop their kids off at the kids club, and they basically have to drag them back to the room kicking and screaming because they don't want to leave the kids club because there's always something going on.
I would do that for my daughter. I'll be like, you want to stay? You know what? Go ahead. You're more than welcome to stay. I'm fine with that. Trish, what are you going to say?
One of my friends went on a Disney cruise with their teenage daughter, and she said the only time they saw her was in the morning when they woke up and then when they went to bed.
Yeah.
Because she was always in the teen club.
Also, kids clubs, will, if you want to leave your kids there during meal times, they'll feed them.
Yeah, I would think so.
And on the Dream, the teen club had their own spa too.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh.
Okay, no, my kids should not live better than me.
Well, I mean, you know, that
Well,
you
then
would be able
again,
to,
I would be on there too.
yeah,
so,
you'd
okay,
be out
fine.
there too. So I mean, you can have, and I mean, you know, there is some private adult pools, there is some private adult decks that you can go on, and
Yes.
you just be yourself. You know, you just chill out and all that good stuff.
And if you want to do the adults only area and you have kids, then you drop them at the kids club. And they do have, like, if you have a kid there, I've traveled with kids, with people who have kids, but I don't have any of my own. But they have, you know, they have to wear a wristband, and after dropping them off to pick they can text you on your phone and say, hey, so-and-so wants to be picked up or whatever. But to pick somebody up, they have a list of names that came with you that are allowed to pick that child up.
Nice.
And they have your photo, and you have to have their password. Like, they'll say, this kid, to pick them up, you have to say Tinkerbell or whatever.
Right.
And so it's a little bit of an extra safety measure. I think they're not allowed to sign themselves out of the club until they're 10, and after that, the parent has to give permission to say, yes, my kid can do that themselves.
Right. Well, it's for safety
But
too.
I've literally watched Goofy walk into the kids club to just go hang out, and like, we were outside the kids club, obviously, but we were sitting on some couches near the kids club, watch Goofy go around the corner and walk into the kids club, and then you just hear like screams like, yeah! I mean, characters literally go in there to hang out with them.
Were they screaming in fear, or no? I'm just kidding. Oh my God, it's an 8-foot man.
We would come to pick my niece up, and she would have her art projects with her, and she would have photos of when the character came to hang out with them, and it was awesome.
So Vicky's going to be planning her cruise, I think, pretty soon here. I'm just getting that feeling
Yeah, I
right now.
might do one next year.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun. And again, they do have the accessible handicap rooms. They got all that stuff
Right.
for you there. So,
And looking on the website, and I actually do know a couple of people who have done it outside of this group, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews, whether you're young, old, broken like me, or healthy and drinking. I mean, everyone I know who's taken it goes, Vicky, you got to do it. You got to do it.
well, especially if you're a
It's
Disney
because no
fan.
matter what you're into, they've got something that fits your
They
interest.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of tempted to do a Star Wars one.
Well, and they do have themes,
Maybe on
but
the fantasy.
well, and keep
I
in mind, a
know.
lot of these cruises, you know, they do book up pretty quick, especially for
I
themed
know.
cruises. Star Wars, Marvel, they do have those. Again, they do have the Maritime Christmas, and again, of course, the Halloween. One thing I did notice when I was doing research on Disney cruises in general is that, especially if it's a theme cruise, they usually like you go to bed, it's like decorated in one theme, and the next morning you wake up and it's decorated in an entirely different theme, and they mix it up, they change things up all around all the time. It's pretty spectacular. It's pretty.
Ooh, I do
pretty
have
awesome.
to mention, because you said that, the night that the Magic had their Tangled night, the pub on board turned into the Snuggly Duckling, and they did like they totally overhauled it in there. Even they had like covers for the tables that made it look like old wood, and they had posters on the wall for like all of the thugs. You know, they name the things that they want to do. They'd have like, what was it? Bruiser knits, killer sews. So it has like killers sewing. Like, they have their business posters in there, and then they do like a family-friendly show and then an adults-only show with some of the ruffians in there, and it was so awesome. They literally put banners up and put like a sign over it, under new management, the Snuggly Duckling, and oh my gosh, it was so funny.
That reward's gonna buy me a
That's awesome.
Yes. That's the type of thing you will get on a Disney cruise.
Absolutely. Looking at the Snuggly Duckling scene right here. Dee-dee-dee.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Oh, and they made you say snuggly, snuggly, quack, quack, quack before they let you in.
Nice.
That was the password.
I would do that.
I think that'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Temper and my hook. I've always yearned to be a concert pianist. That would be awesome. Just like walk in, you see some guy with a hook and everything. Vicky's gonna be on a cruise soon. Anyway. Well, I think that's going to give me motivation to go on a Disney cruise one of these years. The price is definitely something you have to think about, but of course, you're not necessarily worrying about the price, you're worrying about the experience. And Disney Cruises looks like has a wonderful experience to have for young at hearts. No matter how old you are, how young you are, Disney Cruises do everything well, just like Disney does itself. So, ladies, any last words before we wrap it up for another edition of the Disneyverse podcast? When are you booking your cruise today?
There is a website.
I'm dreaming.
There is a website called vacationstogo.com.
Okay.
One of my patients told me about it. It's just cruises, and it's all last minute deals, and Disney does pop up on it.
Vacationstogo.com.
Ooh.
Yeah, usually the only discount, but besides, the really rare ones like that are if you're a Florida resident or if you're military. It's
Right.
not really helpful.
Yeah. So,
But I will say, if you are looking to do a Disney cruise, I would join like a Disney, I think Disney Cruising and Cruise Line Fanatic. There's some Facebook groups, and if you join one of those, you'll pretty much get notified when the new itineraries come out, because every couple months they'll say, okay, so now I think all the ones through summer of 2019 are out. Next they're waiting for fall of 2019,
which
and
they are out.
The cheapest ones are always opening day.
Right, and also, and kind of piggyback on that one, all of 2019 is available now. 2020 is open for January, so January 2020 is the latest it goes out. But again, a lot of times when you book these cruises, you only have to pay a deposit. You don't actually have to pay everything until 60 days before the cruise is up. So
true, but if you really want to go on one, your cheapest time is right when the itineraries are released.
Exactly.
They only get more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's like driving away in the car. The value of the car drops fast pretty soon. As soon as you have the second day, it goes up there a little bit. So
there's only so much room on a ship. You can't oversell it.
That's right. Well, they won't oversell it because they can't do anything else with it. So
yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, I think that's going to do it for another edition of the Disneyverse podcast. I think we've encompassed everything with Disney cruises. I think we have enjoyed our time on the Disneyverse podcast cruise. Thank you very much for joining us here today. If you have any suggestions about what we want to talk about, definitely hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, and email. We love to hear your suggestions. And we'll check in with you next time. For Trish, for Vicky, and Terry, this is Michael saying so long, everybody. We'll talk to you guys next time.